Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance, where people conform to the letter but not the spirit of a request. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some malicious compliance. I know the rules, do you? A little backstory. This happened years ago while I was working in retail. I had been at this place for 3 years, was cross-trained in every department, had never had a sick day, and was always available to cover shifts when they called me. The important thing to say is that we were also unionized. I would soon be getting married and moving across the country. So being the good employee I was, I gave my store manager my termination notice a month before my last day, instead of just 2 weeks. So he would have plenty of time to hire someone new. Here is the good part. A few days after I turned in my notice, I broke my foot in an act of stupidity. 3 avulsion fractures, they couldn't cast it. Doctor gave me some pain meds and a note saying I could continue work as a cashier as long as I had a stool or something, so I could help keep the weight off my foot. The next day I grab my cane and walk into work with my note. I explain the situation to my supervisor and union rep, and they pull a bar stool from the furniture section and put it in my cash booth. I spend the day working without a problem. The next day, my store manager sees me sitting on a stool and calls me into his office. I go in and he wants to know why I have a stool. The conversation goes roughly as follows. "Why are you sitting down while on shift?" "Because I broke my foot and the doctor says I cannot be standing on it all day. I have the note and the union's approval." Manager looks over at the note and notices the cane beside my chair. "I can't let you keep the stool. If we did, we would have to make accommodations for everyone who got injured outside of working hours. Plus, it doesn't look professional to have you sitting at the front of the store." Now, I know he isn't allowed to do that, and that I could have taken this up with the union and won the case, but with only 3 weeks left with the company, I would be lucky to have it resolved before I left. So I get a bright idea. Okay, I will make you a deal. Instead of bringing this to the union, I will give up the stool, but in return, you need to make sure that every shift I work from now on is as the garden center cashier. My manager quickly agrees and thanks me for being understanding. He walks me out to the garden center and explains to the current cashier that I will be taking over for the rest of the month. Now, being unionized is not always a great thing, but if you know the rules, you can get away with a lot without being fired. With my union, the key was to do exactly what was in your job description, so long as it didn't put you, your co-workers, or the company at risk. Since most of us liked our jobs and respected the store owners, not the manager, we always went above and beyond. But I was on my way out, and after my talk with manager, I no longer cared. A few days later, manager comes out to let the supervisor know that a shipment of flowers will be arriving sometime today. He apparently decided to check up on me and was completely speechless when he saw me. There I was, sitting on my register's counter, reading a book. "What on earth are you doing?" Waiting for the next customer to come up while taking the weight off my foot. Why? "You know I could fire you for doing this, right?" My job is to be a cashier, which I am doing whenever someone comes up. There are no additional duties like cleaning or stocking for the garden center cashier. So between customers, I am taking the weight off my foot as per my doctor's note, minus the stool of course. "I could still fire you for reading on the sales floor." Please do. Since I have never received a warning or been written up, that would mean you were firing me for a first offense, which is not sufficient cause for the union. That would mean you would owe me 5 weeks severance, my unclaimed vacation time, and the pay I would miss between now and my final day. Now, you could also spend the next 2 weeks trying to catch me reading. That way, you could issue me the required 3 warnings, followed by the required 3 write-ups. But that would eat up a lot of your time, and I am pretty sure I could have someone inside call me to warn if they see you coming this way. At this point, a man with a cart full of bags and dirt starts heading my way, and I hop off the register onto my good foot and hop around the register so I can serve him. Manager never came to see me again. I was kind of hoping that they'd let the manager fire them just so they could claim all of those bonuses, but yeah, I guess that works too. Rude psychiatrist asks ill-intentioned question, gets the response she deserves. For a bit of background, I am currently suffering from a severe anxiety disorder combined with depression and looking for treatment. Psychiatrist appointments are very expensive, so I rely on health insurance, which severely limits my options. After days of trying to get an appointment, one is finally scheduled. I'm extremely terrified due to the previously mentioned illness, but also excited because I might finally get the help I need. I get to her office and we start talking. My mum is with me because at the time I was still under 18, and I'm not comfortable being alone in situations like that. From the very beginning, this woman was incredibly rude, condescending, and the general feeling was that she didn't want to be there at all. She's aggressive and repeatedly dismisses or ignores what I say. After a while, I get mad and give her the same treatment I had been getting. My mum gets mad at me, there's lots of yelling. It's important to mention that I cry extremely easily, and I'm an angry crier. So at this point, I'm in tears, trying to explain this to her that I indeed want to get treatment, because me not wanting to be treated poorly somehow made her think otherwise. Finally, after some more pointless bantering, she asks the long-awaited question. If you met a genie and he gave you 3 wishes, what would you ask for? I believe she wanted me to say, I want him to change the way I am, or something like that. Well, first of all, I think I would wish for a decent psychiatrist. Oh, the face she made was priceless. She didn't say anything for a few seconds, and the appointment was cut short due to my behavioural issues. My mum got angry at me, but I don't regret saying it. Thankfully, I was later on able to find a very nice doctor, and I'm gladly undergoing treatment with him. Some doctors are just a bit, rude, I guess. I remember going to the doctor for my tonsils because they hurt, and I went up to him and I said, my tonsils are hurting. He then looked in my mouth and said, no, they don't hurt. And I was like, what? They do? He was like, no, they don't. You've got to go now. So that was it. I'm in charge here. First, this is a story my grandfather told me. He was a builder in Mexico, but has been returned for some years now, so I'll try my best to translate the story. So, Grandpa and a bunch of builders were hired to construct houses for the Infonavit. It was nothing new for Grandpa and the other builders because they had done some work for the Infonavit before. This time around, a young architect who had just graduated was put in charge. The architect thought he was a hotshot. Grandpa called something else, because he was in charge. The architect wanted to micromanage everything, from how the cement was mixed to how the cinder blocks were placed, because he was in charge and he had an education. Grandpa and the other builders started to notice that the first house they were building looked a bit strange. So, one of the builders told the architect that he thought there was something wrong going on. The architect got mad and said, I'm in charge here. You don't have the right to question me, you ignorant POS. The builder didn't show up the next day. The builders kept working. They had their families to feed and began to notice what was wrong with the first house. The house was built backwards, facing the wrong way. The architect didn't notice and thought the house looked great, and then ordered for the start of the next house. The builders, who were still angry, decided that they would follow the architect's directions since he was in charge, and it would suck if the architect's boss showed up out of nowhere. One day, the architect's boss, AB, showed up. He had heard that there was something wrong going on. The architect's boss asked for the plans and began to inspect the houses, with the builder that had left. arrived, the boss then noticed that the house had been built the wrong way, and was told how the architect had micromanaged everything, and kept antagonizing the builders. The architect's boss looked for the architect and went off on him, telling the architect that he would never find work again, and that he was making the architect responsible, since he was the one in charge. That the architect should have listened to the builders since they had the experience. The fallout was that the builders had to tear down the bad houses and rebuild them again, which was fine since the builders got paid for the extra work, and the new boss was nice. The architect wasn't seen again on the construction site. Why do I feel like this guy just had the blueprint upside down or something, and he was like, yep, this looks good, and then he turns it around and goes, oh, whoops. Won't give me the seat I booked? Have fun missing your stop. I live in a pretty rural area of the UK, like we're talking 10 to 15 minutes between train stations, most of which are request stops as people so infrequently use them. I'm also physically disabled, and a major side effect of the medication I've been prescribed for my neuropathic pain is travel sickness. This will all be relevant. I get on the jam-packed train with my pre-booked ticket, and have reserved myself a window seat with a table. There is a small holder at the top of the seat into which any pre-booked seat allocations are slotted. Unfortunately, I get to my seat and there's a 55 to 60-year-old guy sat happily in my space, with two people opposite him and a spare seat next to him. Excuse me sir, that's my seat. How do you know? Because I have the seat number on my reservation. The card for the seat allocation is behind you, and I need this seat for my disability. At this point, old guy looks like he's about to pop a vein. I've never seen someone get so aggressive so quickly. The old guy rips the seat allocation ticket in two and places it in the seat next to him. You can sit there, you POS. I tried to explain. I don't want to hear your excuses. Shut up and sit down. So, I shut up and I sit down. 5 minutes into the journey, I'm feeling head spinny. 10 minutes into the journey, my mouth is filling with saliva and my stomach is churning. 15 minutes into the journey, and I vomit into the subway bag that formerly contained my lunch. Old guy starts freaking out, screaming at me. I can't say a darn thing, because my stomach is aborting my soul via my throat and nose, and I'm feeling miserable. 20 minutes into the train journey, he gets up and starts preparing to get off. I'm still too busy throwing up my lunch and drink to pay him any attention, and he's told me not to speak to him. So, amid my wretches, I'm subjected to verbal abuse for not being able to move, and for him being unable to get off the train. He misses his stop, which is a request stop. The next stop isn't for another 10 minutes, and unless he can move to request the stop, he's going to end up missing that station too. Eventually, the train conductor comes down for ticket checking, and actively recoils when he sees me with my head in a bag, and this purple-faced old dude having a full-fledged tantrum. I compose myself as best as I'm able, and explain the situation, and that he told me to sit down and shut up, and wouldn't listen to me. The passengers surrounding me are fully on board and explain their side. At this point, the next stop has passed, and the old guy is getting more and more harassing. Statements from the other passengers are given, and eventually he shoves the guard backwards. The guard throws him off the train due to his threatening behaviour, a full 3 stops after the original one. There's no train to take him back for at least 45 minutes. And the guard informs the station managers, who then contact the police. As we pull away, I move into the window seat and enthusiastically wave goodbye with as big as a grin as I can muster. I was definitely expecting him to be thrown up on, the old guy, but I think that's even better. 45 minutes away. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Stupid rules in work. So I am a manager in a call center. No office dress, work polo tops are available, but really anything goes. T-shirts, leggings, jeans, caps, shorts. The issue that can pop up in the summer are girls wearing denim shorts too short, tops too short, and senior management saying too much skin is on show. However, my story is around a girl Carly I had in my team. October in Scotland, the cold is here, so it's more winter wear. She has on black leggings, denim shorts over, and Ugg boots. Perfectly fine in my opinion, no skin on show. My manager said the shorts were too short, but I tried to argue the leggings covered her, so in no way was it inappropriate. As usual, management win, so I had to tell her the shorts were too short, but I reminded her the leggings were fine. Planting the malicious compliance seed, she knew what to do. So she stood up and made a scene, announced the shorts were too short, but she could fix it. She stood up in front of everyone, undid her shorts, and pulled them down in front of everyone. Took them off, folded them, and put them in her bag. Sat down and took another call. This made my day. The look on my manager's face was priceless. I reminded her it was exactly what she had asked for, but clearly she thought Carly would have done this in the bathroom. What did they expect was gonna happen? Like, yeah, maybe in the bathroom, but that's like the stupidest rule ever. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.